my team.
Yeah, for us, big day as we sit here right now. Got 24 guys that are in. Again, feel like we've addressed a ton of needs. Excited about us having the ability to hang on to this class that we were able to fight for, and excited about maybe a couple more coming in later on in the day.
Steve?
Coach, really kind of a two-parter, but first of all, just kind of maybe give us an overview of the class and how pleased are you with the group, and where do you feel like maybe you improved your team?
Yeah, I think we've made a bunch of improvement from a roster depth standpoint. You look at today, 24 guys that are in right now with a chance to add a couple of more. You look at from a junior college standpoint, a couple of transfers that are in the boat. Again, having the ability to add to the depth of our roster today was gigantic. Obviously, we get an elite quarterback to be the headliner of the class, a guy that's from right here that stayed with us, Camario and his family. Just incredibly appreciative of their support, their loyalty as we've gone through this, which has been huge for us. So again, addressed a lot of needs. The depth is what I'm probably most excited about, the depth of the class. I think I talked during the season a ton about our scout teams and having the ability to grow the back half of our roster to help us from a developmental standpoint. I think we addressed a bunch of that today.
I know as a leader, you want as much data as you can possibly get. Now you've had a year's worth of coaching and now a year's worth of recruiting. Maybe where are you in the process of maybe evaluating your staff or maybe making any changes or anything like that?
Yeah, since we've gotten back from the Egg Bowl, I guess there's been a bunch of evaluating going on. And for us, it really did. It started with having exit meetings with our players. And I'll kind of go through the process really of what's gone on here the last 4 or 5 days, but we've got back in the building, had a bunch of exit meetings with guys really needing a fresh start, needing to move on and do something a little different, and then retention of the roster while making sure that we got to today and we were ready to sign, the high school and the junior college players that we needed to sign today. And from there, you look at, the totality of it. And I have been in constant evaluation of every piece of the program. And as I've continued to look back and evaluate, I think for me, the biggest thing is regardless, the deck that we played with, man, at the end of the day, we fell short of our expectation. And it was frustrating in the moment. There was a lot of disappointment. I am incredibly proud of our toughness, our effort, and how we tried to play, especially as we finished the year, even in the situation that we were in. But as we move forward, I'm incredibly excited about where we're going. From a signing class standpoint, having the ability to add some incredible pieces to our staff that I think will be monumental for us, will be big for us as we continue to move forward. And then as we get into the portal season, and we have to go find a way to address the needs that we have. And again, today was a huge part. It was a huge start. But again, now it moves the focus to the portal season and getting these transfers in here that we need.
Sam?
Just from the strategy and kind of the pitch that you guys are giving recruits, how does that maybe change since the start of the season till now? Yeah,
I think there's two sides to the coin. The first side is what they're going to get from us when they're inside the building and the expectation and the level of commitment that they're going to get from their staff. That hasn't changed. The energy, the toughness, how we do what we do every single day, that part hasn't changed. I think the understanding that there's incredible opportunity to come in and have an immediate impact is seen, and it's very, very real. And I think guys understand that. So as we're moving through the portal, that'll be a huge piece of it. Again, I think we've been able to hold on to the class that we have right now and continue to build to it with flipping a couple of guys. I think that's happened because, again, of the support that we have inside our building. I think our energy, our connection, and how our guys have worked to hold on to is why it's happened.
Paul?
Coach, you talked the last couple of games about how important it was to build the depth up on the defensive line, and you signed a couple of JUCO defensive linemen in this class. Obviously, you want more. How big of a need is that now after just signing two when you go into the transfer portal with defensive linemen?
Yeah, it's a huge deal. you look at the three guys today, and again for us, it's a big part of where we are going, and we have to be able to practice against guys to get us ready for Saturday afternoon. That's huge, and again today was a big part of that. And these next 3 weeks are going to be huge too.
Jake.
Coach, you mentioned Camario a bit earlier, but what kind of stood out to you when you watched him on the film?
Yeah, he can do it all. He can do it all. He can do things you can't coach, you know. And to me, that's an elite player playing a position that is just getting started. Man, he's got his best ball ahead of him. This guy's incredibly intelligent. He plays the game the way you want him to play it, and he's just got this bright light inside of him that, man, gets the most out of all the guys that are around him too. So there's so many positives for him, but I love who he is as a young man, which that starts it.
I guess another two-parter, kind of piggybacking off the Camario thing. I had somebody close to him tell me that he wanted to win the locker room during the recruiting process, so he came to like everything you had, came to all the home games, and showed up official visit weekends to kind of get to know the guys. I mean, I know you knew about him on film, but what did that say to you about him as your future leader, to have a guy like him do those things?
To me, that's what it's all about. And that's a guy that understands how important it is to have great pieces around him. It's not ever going to be a one-man show. And so for him, knowing that he had to do a really good job recruiting these guys nonstop and creating relationships with them was huge for us. And I've always said, when you have a big-time, high-level QB at the early parts of your class, you have the ability for him to create some relationships to make it really hard on kids to think about doing other things. I think that's held really true.
Also, too, it appears that you wanted to get bigger, faster, and stronger, and I know the defensive line's been a bit of a concern depth-wise, but looking at some of the measurables on some of these guys, I mean, you definitely went out and got some big bodies. I mean, how important was that for you kind of moving forward?
Yeah, again, I can't say it enough. We had a tight end all week of the Egg Bowl playing as a defensive lineman with Walter Nolan's jersey number on. We need big people to play with and to practice against. That is very real. And so again, I talked about it earlier. What happened in our expectation, man, we fell short in a huge way. But there is a plan in place to get it fixed. And again, you go sign a bunch of defensive linemen that are 6'3", 6'4", 290 to 330 pounds, you're getting better. And not just playing on Saturday and the production that you're getting, but how you are having to strain in practice to be able to get where you want to go.
Building on something you said previously, do you have a number in mind for the transfer portal after you get the guys you expect to get today?
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll end up around 15. You know, that will fluctuate a little bit, but that's going to be that sweet spot right in there, plus or minus a couple.
And you made the comment, additions to your staff. Does that mean adding positions, maybe changing some responsibilities, and is there a timeline for that?
There's not truly a timeline on it. It will be truly adding to the staff and making sure that we're putting the right pieces in place to be able to grow this thing the right way. Have a couple things in the works that I'm really excited about.
Ben.
You were able to flip a defensive back away from Houston with Kyle Johnson sort of at the last minute. What did you see out of him, and what excites you about what he can bring to your program?
You put the tape on, and this guy looks like an SEC DB. He's a ball hog. He got great instincts. He plays both sides of the ball. He's got return ability. He plays really tough. And again, for me, that's a guy that's real close to that 5-hour radius. Monkey, Louisiana, real similar to where we're standing and sitting right now. So I love what he's going to bring to the table for us.
Dan.
Coach, you signed some Mississippi guys, but you also signed guys from Florida, Louisiana, Alabama, Tennessee, just all over. Can you just talk about the scope of your recruiting focus?
Yeah, and I think you look at it, I've talked nonstop about the 5-hour radius, and we were able to hit on that in a really good way. I think from a junior college standpoint, you know, we go to Cali to get the big guard, Big Matthew, who I'm fired up about, and then really did some really good things in the junior college ranks from an O-line standpoint inside the state, which was huge. And then we had a couple of ties with a couple of kids at some spots that maybe were a little further away that we felt really good about. You know, you look at a guy like Braden Turnage, who's, man, just coming on playing football for the first time in his career. You watch this dude play basketball and baseball, and he's an elite athlete at 6'7", 285 pounds, and it's a guy that we got on late in the process that just comes up, and we continue to find ways to find guys, and he pops, and that's one that's from the state of Tennessee, but again, inside of our 5 hours, and that's what we'll continue to focus on.
It's been my experience the last 2 weeks before signing day are almost as important as the 2 years leading up to that. Maybe how has NIL made it even more difficult in the final days of the recruiting process to get a class to bed?
Yeah, it's constant. It's going on as we speak. So I'll walk into a couple new text messages as soon as I walk out of here. So it's up until the very last hour. It's up until the very last text when they submit it through email. I mean, it was all night last night, then all morning this morning. So it is it's a fight for sure.